There is a country in the heart of Southeast Asia that spent centuries surrounded by powerful and yet, somehow, survived. Today, Laos looks peaceful, but beneath its mountains is a history of kings, empires, revolutions, and war. Its story began long before the country had a name. For centuries, different peoples moved through these valleys, creating communities that would eventually shape Laos civilization. And geography would become Laos's greatest blessing and its greatest curse, because everyone wanted the land around the river. Then, in the 14th century, one ruler changed everything. His name was Fa Ngum, and his ambition was enormous. Around 1353, he united territories into the Kingdom of Lan Xang, the land of 1,000,000 elephants.
This was no tiny mountain kingdom. Lan Xang became one of mainland Southeast Asia's major powers.
And something else was taking root: Theravada Buddhism. Faith would become more than religion. It would become part of Lao identity. For centuries, the kingdom grew. But around Laos, powerful neighbors were watching. Then came the weakness every empire fears: division. Division. Then came the weakness every centuries. By the 18th century, Lan Xang fragmented into 3 major Lao kingdoms. And suddenly, the land that had once been united was vulnerable. Siam and Vietnam were stronger. Laos was caught between them. In 1827, Vientiane rebelled against Siam. The rebellion failed. Vientiane was devastated, and the old Lao political order was pushed even closer to collapse. But then Laos faced a new power: France. France was building an empire across Southeast Asia, and Laos was pulled into it. In 1893, Siam ceded territories east of the Mekong to France, beginning the French colonial era in Laos. Laos became part of French Indochina, alongside Vietnam and Cambodia. New roads, schools, and institutions appeared, but the power behind them belonged to someone else. And some of the borders created during this era would survive long after the empire disappeared. Then World War II shattered the old colonial order. In 1945, Laos briefly declared independence. But the moment would not last. The Lao Isara movement tried to build an independent Laos. French forces returned. Independence collapsed, and another struggle began. Laos gained increasing autonomy, and in 1953, France recognized its independence. But independence came at the worst possible moment. The Cold War was spreading across Asia, and Laos was standing directly in the middle. A struggle involving the Royal Lao government, the Pathet Lao, North Vietnam, the United States, and other powers turned Laos into a hidden battlefield. Bombs fell across the countryside on a devastating scale. And when the war ended, the danger didn't. Unexploded bombs remained buried beneath the soil. Then, in 1975, the political balance finally broke. The monarchy ended, and the Lao People's Democratic Republic was established on December 2, 1975. After decades of war, Laos faced the hardest question of all. How do you rebuild a country? The answer would take decades. Gradually, Laos began opening its economy and reconnecting with its neighbors. Infrastructure became the new engine. Roads, bridges, electricity, trade. And new rail connections are changing how this landlocked country connects to the world. But Laos isn't trying to become another Bangkok or Singapore. Its story is different. In Luang Prabang, centuries seem to exist in the same street. Monks walk past buildings that remember the colonial era, while temples preserve traditions far older than modern Laos. And then there is food, simple, powerful, and deeply, deeply connected to the Mekong region. Outside the cities, Laos reveals another identity: mountains, forests, rivers, and communities shaped by the land. And now a younger generation is looking forward, not backward. But progress always comes with a question. What will it cost? Hydropower can generate income and electricity, but the Mekong also supports communities and ecosystems far beyond Laos. Economic growth can create opportunity, but not everyone experiences change in the same way. Laos is becoming more connected to powerful neighbors, especially China, Thailand, and Vietnam. That connection could bring opportunity. But it also means Laos must carefully navigate the influence of larger economies. Because the future of Laos isn't only about money or infrastructure. It's about identity. Can a country modernize without losing the traditions that survived everything before it? Look at what Laos has survived: kingdom, division, colonialism, war, revolution. And somehow, the people remained. The culture remained.
Because history isn't really about the people who draw the borders. It's about the people who wake up inside them every morning, and keep living. From the land of a million elephants to the Laos of today, this is not a story about a country that was never conquered. It's a story about a country that refused to disappear.
The kingdoms are gone. The empires are gone. The wars have passed. But Laos remains, and its next chapter has only just begun.